I 37 male, told my wife 34 female, "You're single now" at a dinner party after she humiliated me and walked out. I need to get this off my chest because I'm still processing what happened Friday night. So we were at dinner with 3 other couples at this Italian place we go to maybe once a month. Good wine, pasta, everyone talking about work stuff and weekend plans. Normal Friday night. Greta was in a good mood, maybe a little too good because she'd had a few glasses of wine before the entrees even came out. She gets like this sometimes when we're out with friends, becomes the center of attention, tells stories, makes jokes. Usually it's fine, but lately the jokes have been about me. And not in a "oh my silly husband" way, more like genuinely mean stuff disguised as humor. Friday it reached a new level. We were all talking and laughing and Greta lifted her wine glass, looked around the table with this big smile, then turned to me and said, "You know what's been on my mind lately? God, I need a new husband. This one's broken." The entire table went silent, like forks stopped moving silent. One of her friends, Mara, tried to laugh it off with "you're terrible," but Greta just kept going. She said, and I quote, "No, seriously, he just works and sleeps. It's like being married to a really expensive, really boring appliance. I've put up with months of this." The dad energy comments. The time she told everyone at a barbecue that I was like furniture, useful but you forget it's there. The constant little digs about me being boring or serious or not fun enough, but something about Friday night just clicked. I put my napkin down, looked at her and said very calmly, "Good news, you're single now, so that's solved." Then I stood up and walked out. Behind me I could hear her going, "Nathan, what the hell, it was a joke." But I didn't stop. I got in my car and drove home. I didn't go home to wait for her. I went home to pack. I grabbed my laptop, important documents, clothes, the deed to the house, which is in my name only. I bought it 3 years before we got married. And I checked into one of those corporate apartments my company keeps for out-of-town project managers. I turned off my phone and slept better than I have in months. When I turned it back on Saturday morning, I had 32 missed calls and about 30 text messages. The progression was wild. It went from "you're overreacting" to "you're scaring me" to "we need to talk" to "this isn't funny anymore." I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I called my lawyer. Well, he's more of a golf buddy who happens to do divorce law, but close enough. I told him exactly what happened and that I wanted to file for divorce. He said I can have papers ready by Monday. So that's where I am. I blocked Greta's number. I've got a lawyer, and I'm living in a furnished apartment eating takeout while my wife of 5 years probably thinks I'm having some kind of breakdown. But here's the thing, I don't feel like I'm breaking down. I feel like I'm waking up. Am I crazy for walking out over one comment? Maybe. But it wasn't one comment. It was months of being treated like a punchline in front of people who are supposed to be our friends. It was being called broken, boring, useless, and having to just smile and take it because it's just Greta's sense of humor. I make good money as a senior project manager. I paid for that house. I pay the insurance, the utilities, pretty much everything. And apparently my reward for being a stable, reliable husband is being compared to a broken appliance at a dinner party. I'm done. Edit, multiple people asking if she's always been like this. Honestly, no. This ramped up maybe 8 or 9 months ago. Before that she'd make little jokes but nothing this harsh. I don't know what changed. To answer some questions, no kids, no joint accounts except one small one for household bills, maybe $800 in it. House is 100% in my name as a premarital asset, and we both have separate cars. On paper I'm pretty clean. My lawyer already confirmed that. Update 1, okay, so things have escalated in ways I honestly didn't anticipate. Not that I'm backing down, if anything, the crazy stuff she's pulled this week has confirmed I made the right call. But Jesus, I didn't realize she'd go this far. Monday morning I stopped for gas on the way to a job site. My credit card declined. I called the bank from the parking lot. Turns out Greta had called them over the weekend, claimed to be me, and told them I was having a mental health crisis, and that she needed to freeze my accounts because I was making erratic purchases and might be a danger to myself. I'm not kidding. The bank rep was super apologetic once they verified I was actually me, but it took 3 hours and 2 supervisors to get everything unlocked. They put notes in my file about harassment by spouse and sent me a written statement of what happened. That statement went straight to Daniel, strike 1 for her, exhibit A for me. Wednesday I needed to grab some more clothes and my laptop dock from the house. I got there, put my key in the door, and it didn't work. She'd changed the locks. I called her, she'd blocked my number. I rang the doorbell, nothing, so I called the police. 2 officers showed up. I explained the situation and showed them the deed with my name on it. One of them pulled it up on his tablet to verify, then knocked on the door and told Greta she can't lock the titled owner out of his own property. She opened the door looking like she'd been crying, told them she changed the locks because she was afraid of me, and that I'd been acting unstable. The younger cop looked at me, looked at her, and you could just see him trying not to roll his eyes. They made her let me in. I found all my stuff. The cops watched while I loaded everything into my car, and as I was leaving, the older officer pulled me aside and said, "Document everything. This might get ugly." No shit. By Thursday, I was getting texts from mutual friends. Greta's really upset. She says you walked out over a joke and won't talk to her. Maybe you should hear her out. I didn't respond to most of them. But Tom and Lily, one couple from the dinner who actually wanted to hear my side, I sent them a longer message. I laid out the pattern, all the times Greta had humiliated me in front of people, the jokes that were just insults, the way I was expected to smile and take it. Tom called me within 10 minutes. He said, "Dude, Lily and I have been uncomfortable about how she treats you. We didn't say anything because it felt like not our place, but if you need us to make a statement for your lawyer, we absolutely will." That's when I realized people saw it. They just didn't want to be the ones to say something. But now that I'd drawn the line, they were willing to back me up. I'm documenting everything. Screenshots, emails, call logs, the works. My lawyer Daniel told me to treat this like a construction project. Thorough records, clear timeline, no gaps. So that's what I'm doing. Daniel has already got statements from Tom, Lily, and one other couple who was there Friday. All of them describing the same pattern. Greta routinely calling me boring, broken, useless, furniture, whatever creative insult she felt like that day, and me just taking it with a forced smile. Daniel filed the divorce papers Friday. We're also requesting exclusive use and possession of the house since it's my premarital asset, and she's already proven she'll try to lock me out or destroy my stuff. The papers were served to her yesterday at the house. According to the process server, she became hysterical and slammed the door in his face after grabbing them. So that's going well. Meanwhile, I've changed every password I have: email, cloud storage, bank accounts, insurance, payroll, everything. I updated my emergency contacts at work to remove her. I put alerts on my credit report. Basically treating this like she's a security threat because based on the bank thing, she is. Honestly, I'm good. Better than I've been in months. The apartment is quiet. I order dinner, watch whatever I want, work on my projects, and nobody's there to tell me I'm boring for reading a book or dad energy for going to bed at a reasonable hour. More to come, I'm sure. But for now, I'm just gonna enjoy the peace when I have it. Edit. Someone asked about Mara, Greta's friend who laughed at the broken husband comment. Yeah, she's been radio silent. I suspect she's Team Greta all the way, which is fine. People show you who they are. Update 2. I need to walk you through what's happened in the last week and a half because it's been absolutely bananas and I'm still kind of reeling. Short version. Greta escalated from financial games to trying to destroy my career and reputation. It backfired spectacularly. About a week ago, I got an email from Carla, the HR manager at my company, asking me to come in for a meeting. The subject line was just urgent, personal matter, which is never good. I walked into her office and she looked uncomfortable as hell. She slid a printed email across the desk and said, "Your wife sent this to our general HR inbox and CC'd our VP of operations." I read it. My stomach dropped. Greta had written this long, detailed email claiming I was unstable, that I'd abandoned her without warning, that I had anger issues and control problems, and that she was concerned I might bring this instability into the workplace or become a liability. She even suggested they monitor my behavior and consider whether I should be on projects with high-pressure deadlines. Basically, she was trying to get me fired, or at least damage my reputation enough that I'd be sidelined. Carla said, "Look, we have to take this seriously because it's a spouse making safety allegations, but I wanted to hear your side before this goes any further." I'd brought my folder, and thank God I did. I showed her everything: the police report from when Greta locked me out, the bank statement showing her fraudulent call, the email chain with my lawyer, the statements from Tom and Lily about the pattern of public humiliation. I even had the text screenshots where she went from angry to manipulative to threatening over the course of one night. Carla read through it all, and her expression shifted from concern to annoyed. She said, "This looks like someone trying to weaponize our HR process. We'll keep this on file, but unless there's an actual workplace issue, this is staying in your personal business category. Your performance has been solid and we've had 0 complaints." I thanked her and left, but I was furious. She tried to destroy my career because I wouldn't come crawling back. 3 days after the HR thing, I got served with papers at work. A temporary restraining order. Greta was asking the court to legally bar me from contacting her or coming within 500 feet of her because, get this, I was supposedly violent, threatening, and unstable. Her filing claimed I'd slammed doors, yelled, and threatened her, and that she'd had to change the locks to protect herself because I'd tried to force my way into the house. None of this happened, not one word of it. But here's the thing about restraining orders. If a judge grants even a temporary one, it goes on your record. It can affect security clearances, professional licenses, and in my industry where I work on government contracts, it could absolutely torpedo my career. I called Daniel immediately. He said, "Good, let her lie under oath. We'll bury her." We had a hearing scheduled for the restraining order about a week out. Daniel spent that time collecting everything we'd need, written statements from all 3 couples who were at the dinner. They all said the same thing. Greta routinely humiliated me in public, and that night at dinner I never raised my voice, never slammed anything, I just stood up and left. The police report from the lockout, which clearly documented that she locked me out of my house and that the officers had to intervene. Bank records showing the fraudulent call where she impersonated me. And then Tom sent us something that made Daniel actually laugh out loud. Screenshots of a group chat between Greta and some of her girlfriends, including Mara. Lily was in the chat and had saved everything before quietly leaving the group. The messages were from 2 days after I walked out. Greta literally wrote, "If he actually leaves, I'll just tell everyone he's emotionally abusive. No one questions a crying wife." There was more, but that was the nuclear line. Hearing day, we got to court and I was nervous as hell, but Daniel was calm. He told me, "Just tell the truth and let her dig her own grave." Greta went first. She had clearly been crying before we started, red eyes, tissues in hand, the whole performance. She told the judge I'd abandoned her, that she was terrified I'd come back to the house unannounced, that I'd been slamming doors and yelling before I left. The judge asked, "Is there a police report documenting any of this violence?" No, I was too scared to call. Any medical records, photos of damage, witnesses? No, it all happened at home when we were alone. Then it was our turn. Daniel asked her about the police report, the real one, where the cops had to tell her she couldn't lock me out of my own house. She stammered something about just trying to feel safe. He asked about the bank call. She said she was worried about me and trying to protect our finances. He pulled up the bank's written statement where she'd literally impersonated me and claimed I was having a mental breakdown. She didn't have an answer. Tom and Lily testified next. They described the pattern: months of Greta publicly mocking me, calling me broken, comparing me to furniture, saying I had dad energy and was boring. They said I never fought back, never raised my voice, just smiled and let it happen. Then Tom dropped the bomb. He said, "After Lily showed me the group chat messages, I asked Greta directly if she was okay. She texted back, If he runs, I'll make sure everyone knows he's crazy. I'm not stupid enough to let him leave and look good." The judge's expression changed. She looked at Greta and said very slowly, "Ms. Cole, this doesn't look like a woman afraid of her husband. This looks like someone trying to control the narrative." The restraining order was denied. Not just denied, the judge made a written finding that there was a pattern of public belittling and why the petitioner and evidence of misuse of financial systems and attempted exclusion from property. Daniel leaned over and whispered, "She just did half my job for me." We walked out of that courthouse, and I felt like I could breathe for the first time in weeks. Of course, Greta couldn't just take the L quietly. That night she posted on Instagram, one of those teary selfies with a long caption about leaving an abusive, controlling man and how hard it is to rebuild your life when no one believes you. One of the mutual friends sent me a screenshot. I didn't respond publicly. Daniel told me not to, but one of the guys from the dinner commented on her post. "We were at that dinner. He didn't yell. He just left." The post got deleted within an hour, but the damage to her credibility was done. I've heard through the grapevine that several people have unfollowed her or quietly distanced themselves. Divorce is moving forward. She's now asking for spousal support and claiming she should get part of the house equity even though it's a premarital asset. Daniel's not worried. The pattern of behavior she's established makes it pretty hard to play the victim now. Greta wanted a new husband. She's welcome to find one. I'm keeping the one thing I lost somewhere along the way, my self-respect. Final update. This is probably my last update unless something wild happens, but I wanted to close the loop on everything because this community has been incredible through all of this. We had the final hearing on the divorce settlement last week. Greta was pushing hard for spousal support and a share of the house equity, claiming she'd sacrificed her career to support my ambitions and deserved compensation. Her lawyer painted this picture of her as the struggling, abandoned wife who'd given up everything for a man who just walked away. It was almost convincing if you didn't know literally anything about our actual marriage. During discovery, everything came out. My salary, her salary, who paid for what, the whole financial picture of our marriage. The facts were pretty damning for her case. I make around $95K a year as a senior PM. I paid the mortgage, all utilities, insurance, car payments for both vehicles, groceries, most dinners out, basically everything. Greta made between $18K and $22K a year doing part-time social media management for a boutique. She changed jobs 3 times in 5 years, always for toxic workplace reasons. Her income mostly went to her personal shopping and girls' nights out. There was zero evidence she'd sacrificed any career. She had a marketing degree but never pursued full-time work in the field. No emails about job offers she'd turned down, no applications she'd paused, nothing. Daniel laid this out very clearly. "Your Honor, my client subsidized Ms. Cole's lifestyle entirely while she contributed roughly 15% of household income. There was no sacrifice, there was a subsidy." Remember Carla from HR. Greta's lawyer had subpoenaed her, thinking the unstable husband email would help their case. Huge miscalculation. Carla testified that Greta had sent an unsolicited email making serious allegations about my mental health and workplace behavior, but that there was zero evidence to support any of it. She confirmed my performance reviews were solid, I'd never had a behavioral complaint, and that the company found no basis for Greta's concerns. Then Daniel introduced the email itself into evidence, the one where Greta claimed I was unstable and might be dangerous at work, right next to the bank statements showing she'd impersonated me to freeze my accounts. The judge read both, looked up at Greta, and I swear I saw her jaw tighten. This is where it all fell apart for Greta completely. Lily had been part of a group chat with Greta and a few other women. She'd quietly left the chat weeks ago but had saved everything. One of the things she saved was a voice note Greta sent about 3 weeks into this whole mess. In the recording, Greta said, "If the court thinks he's unstable, I can get more money out of this. Men like him only understand their wallet. He wants to humiliate me by leaving. I'll humiliate him where it counts." Daniel played it in court. The The room went dead silent. The judge looked at Greta with this expression of pure contempt and said, "Ms. Cole, you are on record strategizing about painting your husband as mentally unstable for financial gain. You filed false reports, impersonated him to financial institutions, and attempted to interfere with his employment. I'm frankly shocked you're here asking for support. So no spousal support." The judge said Greta had failed to demonstrate financial need or career sacrifice, and that her conduct during the divorce demonstrated bad faith. No claim to the house equity. Premarital asset, no commingling, clean title. It stays 100% mine. The judge's final comments were something else. She said, "The court finds that Ms. Cole engaged in a consistent pattern of harassing and manipulative behavior both during the marriage and throughout these proceedings." Then she looked directly at Greta and said, "You should be grateful he's not counter-suing for defamation and malicious interference with employment." Greta started crying, the loud, gasping kind, and tried to say something about he walked out over a joke, but the judge just said very flatly, "A joke stops being a joke when only one person is laughing." Gavel down. Done. After the hearing, Greta posted a long status on Facebook about how she'd lost everything to a cruel man and a sexist judge, and how the system protects abusers. This time, people pushed back in the comments. One of the women from the dinner wrote, "You called him broken and boring for months while he paid for everything. What exactly did you think would happen?" The thread turned into a whole thing. Greta eventually deleted the post, but by then, screenshots were everywhere. I didn't engage with any of it, but I won't lie, it felt good to see people who'd been silent finally speak up. I'm back in the house. I repainted the living room, got rid of all of Greta's decorative pillows, there were so many, and bought some furniture that's actually comfortable instead of Instagram-worthy. I installed a video doorbell, mostly just for peace of mind. I doubt she'll show up, but if she does, I'll have a record. Work has been great. I got assigned to a major new commercial development project, and Carla joked with me last week, "Whatever you did in your personal life, keep it up. You've been on fire with these proposals lately." I've been hitting the gym more, picked up golf again, started reading books I actually enjoy instead of the ones Greta thought looked good on the shelf. Small stuff, but it all adds up to feeling like myself again. 2 weeks ago, I ran into Greta at the grocery store. She was working as a hostess at the restaurant inside, one of those upscale chains with a bar. It's the same place she used to post Instagram stories from during girls' nights. She saw me in line at the deli counter and walked over. She looked tired. She said, "Nathan, can we just talk for 5 minutes?" I looked at her for a second, and honestly, I didn't feel angry. I just felt. "Done," I said. "Last time we were at a restaurant together, you told a table full of people you needed a new husband because I was broken. You got your wish. Enjoy it." I grabbed my number from the deli counter and walked to the checkout. As I was leaving, I saw a couple who'd been nearby kind of looking at her with this "oh, yikes" expression. I don't know if they heard the whole exchange or just enough, but it felt like a fitting end to the public humiliation she used to love dishing out. She thought calling me broken in public was harmless fun. Walking out that night was the first time in years I treated myself like I wasn't. She wanted a new husband. She's welcome to keep looking. I'll stick with something better. A life where respect isn't treated like a joke. Thanks for everything, Reddit. I'm done now. Time to live.